All right. Well, it's the end of August, and we're here at Oceanside Ice Arena, where we are normally all winter long. But got a couple of special guests, one to my right, one to my left. So we'll talk a little bit of Sun Devil hockey, but we're going to specifically talk about recruits because as I look on my phone, I see that you guys have the number 9 ranked recruiting class in the country. So Mike Field, welcome to the show, and Alex Hicks, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Who wants to jump in first? Let's talk a little bit about what it's like to have the 9th ranked class. I know that probably means nothing to you guys except on paper, right?
Right. Well, I think it's basically a number that someone ranks it somehow. I'm not even sure how they get to that.
Right.
But we've talked as a staff. It feels good to be knowing that we have some good players coming in, and it's a credit to the work we put in, and it's also a credit to the players that we have playing that have done such a good job and had some success already that new kids want to come in here and be a part of it. But it's what we do with it,
Right.
You can say that you've got the top draft pick in the NHL draft, or football, the best quarterback, the top pick, but it's what they do when they get here. So time will tell, but we're excited about it, that we at least have the opportunity to work with some really good kids.
So when you look at your program as a whole, you guys have starting the 3rd year now officially, I guess the hybrid year, and then last year and now this year. What's it like when you get out and see a recruit and you tell them you're from Arizona State? First of all, do they know about you? And second of all what's the conversation like, Mike?
Well, definitely it doesn't take as many words to explain who we are and what we're doing as it did early on. But it's, I think most people know of Arizona State even before, we started kind of doing the whole thing. But now that we've had a few years under the belt, the hockey world's so small that chances are somebody we're talking to is, some 7 degrees of separation from somebody that's on our team,
sure,
or whatever else. So it's more just talking to them about hockey and how we see them fitting into our team, our culture, and what we're doing.
The next question, exactly. How do you look through a roster of players like you guys see all over in the ranks? Number one, how do you find the right fit for your program? And number two, with that thought in mind, how do you rank them as far as when you want them here? Do you want them this year? Do you want them next year down the road? How does that whole process work?
Well, I think it's like a multi-step thing. We all have to like the player.
Right.
So if I go out on the road, I'm usually by myself, I'd say 90% of the time, and Mike's the same, that I have to really like a player. He has to stand out to me. He has to be one of the best players, if not the best player on his team. He has to show me something pretty much every shift. He has to play the right way, which is hard worker, good body language, high compete level. He also has to be able to think very well, somebody who can understands the game. So if we can kind of check all those boxes originally, then as a staff, we'll all text them or talk to them, and then Mike usually knows most of the guys or knows somebody that kind of knows them, and then we'll get another set of eyes on him. And then as far as if we all agree or for the most part believe that he's a guy that we might want, then we have to look at his grades, obviously, and see that he's a good student and somebody that we want as a student athlete here, which
right,
is the most important. And then we have to see how old he is and what our depth chart looks like moving forward. Like how many guys we need for the next year or the year after that. It's starting to get a lot younger now. It's nothing's changed for me because we just got into this, but you're looking at 14, 15-year-old kids who are like high, priority for a lot of programs, and we're no different. So you start looking at kid 2, 3, 4 years out, and try to balance it out. And things usually change a little bit as you get closer for them coming here. But it's a big multi-step process that we're trying to fine-tune, and we've had a little bit of success so far doing it.
So when you look at the mix of players, you look at the NHL now and you see a lot of young guys stepping in and playing, Connor McDavid's, Austin Matthews, guys like that. Does that affect the way you recruit players to come here? Are you looking for a college player? Are you looking for somebody that you can groom? What's the ideal Sun Devil?
I think it's a mix of both. I think that if you look at the teams that win the national championship, they tend to have a mix of both. They have guys that are 4-year guys and have been there, are older players. Typically kind of a good, healthy mix of that. And then a few younger guys sprinkled in that are those elite, maybe 1-year or 2-year guys in college and then sign NHL. And, at the end of the day, we're looking for guys that help us win, and there's lots of different ways to help teams win. And more than anything, we want guys that when we come to the rink every day, we're excited to work with, and we're excited to coach and help make better players. And that's probably the biggest thing. So whether they're going to be an NHL guy or they're going to be a college guy or whatever, that's the biggest priority for us, is that they're good people that we want to work with.
So from the outside looking in, I'm guessing you're going out and talking to these young, not yet men, right? And you're dealing with them, their parents, their coaches, and everybody. How much flip-flopping goes on behind the scenes? Does the guy tell you, you really like this kid, and you go, hey, we're going to get him, and he gives you a verbal maybe, and then flip-flops on you? Or does it, you kind of hone in on a guy and are able to keep him once you determine who that person is?
Well, I think with us, I can't speak for other programs, but we only want kids that want to come here.
Right.
And so they have to make that, real clear right away, and we tell them that. And we feel this is the best program, in the country, and we're moving in the direction to be very successful. So unless the kid and their family want their child to be here 100%, then
right.
we don't offer, and we don't beat around the bush. So to answer your question, we haven't had anybody flip-flopping on us, because every kid that we've committed wants to come here badly, and vice versa. We want them here. So that's the way we look at it. We tell them, if you don't want to be here, then go somewhere else.
So you get the guys that come into the rink, they're now commits, right? They're on the ice with you guys real soon to get started. Now you got this numbers game making them all fit into the package. Tell me a little bit about what that's like. I know academics are very high here. You guys rank very highly in academics. So tell me what it's like to get those players all together. And ultimately you'll lose a few, I'm guessing, that don't make it through the process or whatever. But what's it like for you guys to try to put them all together into one cohesive team?
Again, it just kind of goes back to what Hicks was talking about earlier, where it's a process of figuring out how many guys were graduating,
right.
If guys are going to sign pro early, etc. So anytime we bring a guy in, before he gets on campus, he knows, this is how we see you, this is where we see you fitting in, this is why we recruited you, and that's how we use them when they get in here. So it's more about finding pieces that fit the puzzle and plugging them in, and just let them do what they do. There's a reason why we recruited them.
Let's talk about logistically. You guys, I know you scour North America and probably Europe as well, but tell me a little bit about the areas that you like to look for. I know just a little bit on your backgrounds, Michigan and Wisconsin area, right? So that is that home for you guys, or is it really, are there certain areas you want to find players from, or just the best players?
I'm from Western Canada, so I've always wanted Canadian kids, and just like the way they play, and we've got a lot of kids, especially from Alberta.
Right.
But basically, wherever kids that are good and doing well and are good students and want to come to ASU, then we're going to get eyes on them. Being so far in the south and having to take usually a 3 to 4 hour plane trip to get pretty much anywhere in the country, we have to be careful, and we've made the mistake, and we continue to make the same mistake of spreading ourselves too thin, because we want to see everybody, and we want to give kids email us, but in reality we just want to kind of hone in on some certain spots, which would be Western Canada, Minnesota, in that Wisconsin area, and then Chicago a little bit, and then obviously the local kids. We want the local kids. And then California, but you can already see as I talk, I get running on, and that's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to just tell ourselves relax, and we can't see everybody, and that goes back to the premise of we want kids that want to come here.
Right.
Like, we want kids that look at ASU, look at our program, look at our staff, look at our culture, and want to be a part of that. And then when they reach out to us, then it makes it easy.
Right.
If we're chasing people all over the country that don't know about us and don't really, or have options to go to all these other schools, we're probably not going to get that kid.
Right.
And we don't want to waste our time hunting them down.
That makes sense. So the guys are here now. You guys are just a month away, just about from game number 1. So what are you seeing right now with the group you have? Obviously you're happy with them, because you wouldn't have brought them here if you didn't. But what do you think the group is going to do? Are they going to be fast starters? Are they going to take a little while to gel? What's your gut feeling?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, you never know until the puck drops, but first game. But obviously, we like our group. We think we're we've improved, from a year ago in terms of just with recruiting class. We think we brought in some really good players, but then, our returners have all taken major steps from what we can tell in the little bit that we've been able to watch them.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting to see. You never know exactly how big of a step you've taken until you start playing, but I don't know. We're definitely trending in the right direction from what we can tell so early.
So let's wrap it up, but let's talk a little bit about we know the guys that you have and how they're going, but talk a little bit about that group and what the group last year meant to this group. You guys had some success last year in some big places, and it's even a bigger stage this year, I think.
Yeah, well, we've got great leadership in Dylan Holman and Anthony Crossan and Louis Rowe. They've really taken, charge of the team, and the biggest thing that we've been stressing to the kids in our exit interviews last year, like in April, May, when they're getting ready to go home, we challenged our leadership group, which is not just those three, but the sophomores that are coming back this year as well. You've got to take charge of the team. It's got to be on the players to lead. It's got to be on the players to set the culture. It can't always be Coach Powers or myself or Mike, scolding them for not doing the drill right, or not showing up to a meeting on time, or whatever it is. Not being in the right dress code. It's got to come from the players, and once the leadership comes from the players, then you're on to something.
Right.
And we've seen that this year. It's completely different. It's taken us 18 months to 24 months to get that culture built, and we've still got some work to do, but where we're at now is where we were 18 months ago is completely different. We feel very positive moving forward with this group, and now the challenge is to get this group this recruiting class is to buy in, which they are, and then the next year's generation, the next year's recruiting class come in and even be more, come into a more built, a bigger foundation where we just basically give them the keys and let them drive it.
Right.
And we're getting close to that, but it's exciting. It really is.
And we'll wrap it up. One final question for you. Tell me what Sun Devil Hockey has done for youth hockey. I know I've watched you guys out here interacting with the youth teams and watching your ACHA teams and things like that, but what has Sun Devil Hockey done to raise the level of youth hockey?
Well, I think it's, and Hicks, he's probably better to speak on it. He's had, his kids come up through the youth hockey in the area, but from my little experience, in the last 3 years being here, just seeing that, the kids know, okay, the Division I hockey it's a reality. It's right there.
Right.
I can go watch a game. I can go see. That's what I'm trying to get to, or whatever else. I think just makes everything seem that more attainable. When you can actually see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Now it's okay, that's what I want to do. So I know there's definitely a buzz around the rinks. When we walk into local rinks, people notice that's Pitchfork. That's Division I hockey. Wow, that's kind of neat. So. I think there's just a little more buzz and excitement around the rinks since everything's kind of happened.
Well, that's what got me rolling on. Is I thought you guys deserve coverage when you talk about an NCAA program. You deserve more coverage than you're getting. So our hope is that we can provide you with a little bit of that. We appreciate having both of you guys in. I know you're busy, you got busy schedules, but Alex, Mike, thanks for coming in, and good luck this season.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.